Can you teach a Lego robot to breakdance on beat with lights and music? Let's find out, because this little dancer's got moves. This is the ultimate sync challenge, Lego style. We're building a robotic breakdancer and programming it to move in rhythm with flashing lights and music. It's coding, engineering, and dance all in one. Today, we're going to learn how to sync the motors, the lights, and beats using the Lego Spike Prime system. And it's not just about tech, it's about moving your body too. We're going to get this little robot to remind us throughout the day to get up and move. Let's break it down. In this video, we're going to build the breakdancer. Then we're going to go sync the legs to the lights. We'll add some arm movements. In step 4, we're going to figure out how to code in some music as well as some beats. And finally, the challenge that I'm going to leave you with is to make this robot dance on a schedule. We're building the robot right now, and we've started to attach some things to the hub. And remember, that hub is the brains of your robot. We're now attaching this motor right here. And this motor, it's nice to line up that little circle with the circle on the motor assembly. I'm going to try to put these axle pieces in, but this one has been chewed up. Somebody had to remove this pin using their teeth, which is never the way to remove a pin. So I'll switch over to this other one and grab a new axle pin. I'll set this one off to the side for now. Now we're going to use this little ball hitch to go onto our motor. And this is a really cool piece because it allows one of these axles that have the two circles on either end to move freely and to spin around. We'll use this small piece with a tan pin axle going into it, as well as a black pin. Get out one of our longer beams, and we want to skip these first two holes and put this in so that there's two skipped holes. The black is in the third, the tan is in the fourth. We'll put this axle piece coming in through the back. I know that having this bit off, chewed up pin is going to come to haunt me later on in this build, but we'll figure it out in the future. We're going to add another ball pin onto here, and this is what's going to help our leg to move. So this leg is the one that's going to have all the energy. So we'll attach this axle onto that ball head. You can see it just swings around freely. Anytime we can find a way to use these in our builds, it usually makes for a pretty cool build. We'll just plug that leg in and then plug the other side into the motor. And so now as this motor turns, this beam is going to be able to rotate, and we'll cover up that axle piece with a brick, which will act as the foot. You can choose any color you want for those feet. You could even decorate it with some other Lego pieces. Let's build the other leg. We're doing the same thing, but a little bit in reverse. One of those tiny blue pieces. We've got the tan and the black pin. We're skipping 2 pins. The black pin goes in, followed by the tan pin in spot number 4. I'm going to slide another axle piece through and hold it in place using one of those gray gear pieces. I'm going to attach this now to that pivot point, that axle piece. I'll hold it in place with a foot, and this is just going to fall down to the side because we haven't made our hips or our upper body yet to attach these two. Let's just slide this out of the way. We're ready to build our upper body now. We'll use that gray H piece, put a blue pin inside of it. Let's knock that over, add some black pins. We're basically making an H pin sandwich right here. This is going to be some sturdy hips because all that dancing is going to require some strong skeleton so that our robot doesn't just fall apart as soon as we start sending some movements to it using the motors. We'll slide this black piece on top. Got it turned around sort of the wrong way. I don't want those two holes facing the bottom. I want those holes facing the sides. We're really not going to use it. It takes a little bit of lining up. Come on. There we go. And we need to put one more black pin in there next to the blue pin so that we can start building our torso up. All right, we're going to line up those circles on our motor, and that just makes it so that we're always at 0 whenever we start programming this. And We're gonna build this torso up, and the torso is actually one of our medium-sized motors. Hold that wire off to the side so that it doesn't get stretched out too much and is protected. It'll just come off the side. So I have my motor attached. This is the rest of my body. So now we're going to need to figure out a way to make these arms move. I'll plug a red tiny axle piece back here. This is gonna let me plug a gray gear in, which I'm going to attach my arms to. And then on the front side, I'm gonna need to attach a couple black pins. But before we do that, on the back, let's attach some black pins back there. This is what's going to be our neck, so that later on when we attach the head. So we'll use one of those, I call them the triangle black beams. They've got 3 holes on the bottom, and then in the middle it goes up 2 beams. And into the top of that beam, we're gonna put 1 black pin. Onto that red axle piece, let's put that gray gear piece. And it has holes all around it, so later on we can plug in some black pins and attach our arms. And speaking of arms, it's time to start building those. I like to lay these arms out in front of me with one arm facing up and another arm facing down. That bend in the arms can be like the elbows. But the elbows, or the parts of the arm that are closest to each other in the middle, we're gonna put those tan pins in. On the opposite end, we're gonna put a yellow 3 long axle piece. We'll attach some hands to that in a bit. And just like earlier, immediately next to that tan pin, we'll attach a black pin. Be extra careful when you attach these purple pieces, because this is how we're gonna attach our arms. Now we could attach it like this, but I think our arms will hit our body, so I actually need to flip these purple pieces around so that they can plug straight into the gear. Right? Yeah, that's definitely what I need to do. Turn those around. There we go. Okay. Yes, totally. 100%. This is now going to be able to plug into the motor and to that gray gear. We'll just need to throw some black pins in there to make that connection work. Now that we have these arms built, let's add some hands to them. You can use whatever color brick you want. It just slides right onto the end of that yellow axle piece. I like to make my hands going the same direction as the arms, but you could move this in any way you wanted if you wanted to change how your dancer looks. Time to add those black pins into the side, which means we are just about ready to start putting these onto our motor. So those pins can plug into each other just like that. Let's grab our motor, and we're gonna plug one arm into the gray gear piece. There we go. And then on the other side, and I like to make it go the other direction. So when I say other direction, I mean one arm's pointing up. I like my other arm pointing down. I want to make sure that the yellow bricks, my hands, look the same as far as facing me either way. So now I can test this out, and I see that my hands are going to be able to spin around just like that. One of my favorite parts of this little breakdancer build is that we use the color sensor for our face, and this color sensor just plugs right into that black pin on the back side of it, and so it can have a little bit of wobble. And let's get that cord out of the way. I'm gonna raise my camera up because this guy is getting taller now, and so we've got the top built and the bottom built. Let's put that left leg, come on up. We're gonna put it right in the middle of the gray H piece's hip, and there's that piece that got chewed up. That's not fitting. Let me see if I can pinch this shut. I just need to force this so that it'll work. I have plenty of other pins, but I want to be able to use this chewed up pin. I don't like when I have to get rid of pieces that have gone bad. There we go. So my hips are now holding my legs up, and once they're both plugged in, our dancer will just stand there. Let's flip this around and plug in our motors into the right spot. So our color sensor is going to go into that first port, B. We're gonna plug the motor into port D, and that's the one that controls the hands. And then finally, this very bottom motor that controls the legs, it's going to be plugged into port F. This way, whenever we're coding our bot later on, we know exactly which ports to send power to. This bot actually works without doing any coding. If you just wanted to do a demonstration of your LEGO Robotics kit, you can open up the Heart program, click the big button on the heart, and then press either the right or the left arrow, and it's just gonna start moving. And this robot's ready to dance. You can speed it up by pressing those arrows more than once. You can slow it, make it go the other way by pressing the other arrow. But the heart program is a great way to demonstrate this bot. Let's give it some super speed. You'll also know right away if your bot is gonna stay together. This robot does have a habit of just falling apart whenever we turn the speed up too high. Alrighty now, we have built our breakdancer. We've tested it out using the heart program, and we see that both of our motors work. One motor makes the legs go back and forth. The other motor makes those arms turn a little bit. And so now we are ready to start getting into the coding of this robot. And a couple things I want to try to cover today with our coding of this breakdancing bot. I want to control the speed of each motor. I want to use blue motor blocks since we're using each block or each motor individually, as well as making use of the music code blocks in Spike Prime. So we're also going to work on some timing as well, because when you're doing music, it's all about the beat. First thing we're going to do is work on syncing those legs. I've got this program. I need to connect my hub to my computer before I do anything else. So I'll just hit that connect button. I've updated my hub, I'm clicking open. Finding my Prime hub, I'm pairing it. The light turns solid blue, letting me know it's connected, and I am ready to code. I always like to just see what does the program do before I start making any changes to it. So I'm gonna hit play on this program, send it to my bot. I see that it's gonna set the speed. It's gonna go shortest position to 0. It's gonna wait 1 second, and then it's gonna broadcast the program go. Now, these broadcasts or messages, these are great ways to make multiple programs run at the same time. So I can make 2 different things happen, 3, 4, 5, 6, as many as I want. I can make multiple things happen whenever I broadcast a message. So you'll see when I receive go, and then we jump down here a little bit farther, when I receive go. 2 things are happening in this program. So 10 times we are gonna run motor F to the left for 1 rotation, or counterclockwise, and then it's gonna wait 1 second. And then it's gonna repeat 10 times, turn on 1, turn on 2, turn on 3, and each time it's gonna wait 1 second. Our challenge for this build is to change the timing to make the dancer's legs move 10 times in sync with the light. Adjust the timing here. I think 1 rotation takes about 0.2 seconds, so I'm actually gonna speed up my wait from 1 second to 0.8 seconds. And I'm gonna test that out. I want to try to make it moving every time the number changes. 1, 2, a little behind, 3's behind. So we're gonna speed this up even more. So we don't want to wait a full 0.8 seconds. Let's change that to 0.5. Maybe it's taking half a second for our motor to rotate around. And this is a great experiment for us. How long does it take a motor to spin all the way around if the speed is 80%? Let's try this. 1, 2, 3. We're closer, but we're still not there. We need to speed this up a little bit more. I'm going to change it to 0.4 seconds. 3 is probably the answer I want, but I'm going to try this one. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, after 2 cycles of the 1, 2, 3, we've actually fallen pretty far behind. So we're going to speed this up just a little bit more, 0.3. And now this should match. And I see it only went about 10 times total for moving the hips, but my countdown's gonna actually go 1, 2, 3, 10 times. So I need to make this repeat 30 times. And we're gonna speed this up just a little bit more, 0.25. So wait a quarter of a second. I think that's what our beats are. We'll push play one more time. The number is changing before the motor moves. It's happening pretty quickly. We're about 4 cycles through. We haven't fallen too far behind yet. We just fell behind about that 4th cycle through. That tells me we can speed this up even more. Maybe we'll do 0.2. What I'm trying to watch out for is my motor moving the hips before the number changes? Once I hit that point, I know I've gone too fast. I think we hit it with 0.2. It seems to be changing the number and moving the hips at the exact same time. So what I've learned is that if my speed is set to 80%, it takes about 0.8 of a second for the motor to rotate around. If I look down, I see every time the number moves, my motor is moving. So we've gotten these things in time. And that just ran 30 different times. So the hips shook 30 times, and then the numbers 1, 2, 3 popped up 10 times for a total of 30 hip shakes. So we've synced the legs. We're ready to move on to the next step. It's time now to learn use what we just did to make those arms swing. I really don't want to change my code all that much, but I do want my arms to swing at the same time that the hips swing. So what we will do is, instead of just telling motor F to move, we're going to make motor D move as well. So everywhere I have motor F, I'm just going to open it up and change it to multiple and say F plus D. Multiple F plus D. Again, multiple F plus D. Now when I hit play, I should see my arms move and my hips move on the right times. Really close to the end, we start to fall a little bit behind. So we're doing a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 beat, and our robot is swinging those arms. Now to add some beats. Add at least 2 beats in tune with your dancer's moves. Can you keep everything in sync? We want this robot to dance along to music now. We want this robot to dance along to music. We have these code blocks over here on the side called music, and I see we have play drum for a quarter beat. We want this to happen at the same time, so I'm going to duplicate that go block. So whenever I receive go, instead of running 2 programs, it's going to run 3 programs all at the same time, run a snare drum every single time our robot moves. So we're going to get rid of these lights, play snare drum for a quarter beat, and then let's wait 1 second and play a snare drum for a quarter beat. Let's see how this sounds. We should add a wait after that second drum beat, because what's happening is it's playing that snare drum and then it's jumping back to the top. I don't like how this sounds. It doesn't seem to be matching up. So let's change that time to match play drum for, let's see what happens when we do 1 beat. 1 beat. I'm noticing that I am doing 1 snare drum and then waiting a hip and then doing another snare drum. So I think what we should do is we should change this to play the drum for every half beat. Let's see if this all matches up now. Absolutely not. Let's try 0.33. That's a third of a beat, and that's because we are doing 3 seconds. That's not it. Try 0.2. Actually, let's change our weight instead. We'll do 1 beat, and then we're only going to wait 0.2 seconds. So many things to change, so many variables we can go through. Let's see what happens. It's close, but it's off just a hair. Since we're doing 4/4 time, let's change this to quarter beat. Try this. I'm noticing that my timing is off on this beat. So I like the quarter beat. That seems to be fast enough. But 1 second's too fast. Half a second's too fast. 1 second is too slow. So let's change these to 0.75. This is excellent. We now have our robot swinging its hip every time the number changes, and every time it swings its hip, the snare drum plays. I'm noticing we're still counting and still swinging our hip, but our snare drum is stopped, and that's because we're doing 2 actions on the drum, 3 actions with the countdown, and only 1 action with the repeat the motor rotation. So I'm going 30 times, 10 times. I bet if I put this repeat 20 times in between, maybe 15, that'll work. Everything ended at the same time. Perfect. So we've got our beats going on when our robot moves. This whole thing would be a lot easier if we were just making every action happen at the same time. However, when you start doing that, every action happening at the same time, so if we only had when I receive go, run for 1 rotation, turn on the light, and play the snare drum, it would slow everything down because first we'd rotate, then we would turn on the light, then we would play a snare drum. We couldn't make all 3 of those things happen at one time. That's why we're using messages in this lesson. By using messages in this lesson, we are able to make 3 different things happen at once. And you could add a whole lot more. We could add another when I receive go. We can make this light on the top of the robot flash. I wonder how you can change this program to either add more variety in the music, how to add more movements to the robot, or if you could make it so that you could change the speed of the robot just by pressing the left or right buttons. Let me know what you can do in the comments. Show me a video, share with me what you've made. Can't wait to see you next time whenever we build a new robot. Thank you so much. Get up and move throughout the day. That way you're not just sitting still. That's one of the great things about those iPhone watches, Apple watches. I don't have one, but I see people around me all the time. It buzzes, it tells them to get up and move around, and I just think that's great that they're getting up and moving. Cool.